morning and welcome back to another video. In this video we are gonna show you how much land we have, and we're gonna do kind of a small tour of our property. The land amount that we own in total is 2.8 hectares or roughly 7 acres, I think it comes out. So let's go to our first stop and the first corner of our land. We are starting next to our first corner of our land, but behind me is the road that you probably have seen quite often. Actually, this road is not owned by us because it's not part of our land. It's actually our neighbor's land, but we have made kind of a small agreement, not anything official. We actually have a road that goes towards the lake, which our neighbors are using. So we have decided that we're gonna share roads, and of course we don't need an official agreement for that. We're kind, they are kind, and we're never gonna block each other's roads pretty much. So we could extend our field for the goats, but of course we don't want to do that because there's the road, as I said. So we can use that road because I don't think there's any other way for us to get in and out of our property. So yeah, let's go around the land now. That was not a nice apple. We are standing next to the apple tree, and this one is kind of our official border, and the land goes all the way to the top where you can see the green grass. Yeah, that apple was not that good.
Let me try.
It was sour at the beginning, but then it was bitter. The grass here is growing very tall and very big because that type of grass likes to grow next to lakes. So here used to be a lake, so that's why there's a lot of that type of grass. So either this part has been overgrown by weeds or the lake just dried out, but it's just land right now. Our border line is not going by this pole, but it actually goes in the middle of the ditch. We have filmed it in some very early drone shots, but we're quite scared right now because there's a lot of trees, but it's pretty much going in the middle of the ditch. Don't get fooled by that. That's what we put, so it goes all the way to the end. Our land also goes all the way to the end where you can see the green part changing to the dirt part. So let's fly over with a drone so you can see it better.
Behind me are two apple trees, one a bit bigger and one a bit smaller. The smaller one is a red winter apples. The winter, I mean, they stay during the winter all the way in the basement. You can keep them. For us, they lasted a few months, so like till February maybe, some of them January, like some rotten, some not. You just need to non-stop clean them not to spread the rottenness. And this one's like yellow winter apples as well. So you collect them and keep them for winter. I think they're pretty tasty and they're good for pies. Sadly, these two trees pretty much had nothing. Like you can see few apples up top, and last year they were packed full. So one year you get a lot of apples and the next year it's a bit less. So the tree calms down and rebalances itself and get more apples next year. So let's move on to the next trees. So here's two together, which is an apple tree and a pear tree. The apple tree is a sweet golden apple, but quite small ones. These don't get so big. Some of them get big, some of them small. It's a bit more wild. But this year this was packed, and last year it was pretty much empty. So a lot of wasps on the ground because they love these apples, and the pears as well. Last year was pretty much empty, and this year had tons. Way more than anyone could ever eat. This pear tree is gigantic. It would probably be hundreds of kilos of pears, but we couldn't eat them, and the wasps again ate them all. And pretty much here was impossible to come when they were all falling down in August, because there was wasps everywhere. And not wasps, I think they're like yellow jackets or something like that they're called. Really annoying ones, and they just attack you for no reason just because you're near their pear. So not really a pleasant place to be here. Here we planted 6 gooseberry bushes. They're pretty small. The neighbors gave us 6 saplings, and we planted them out in a line here. We didn't realize the goats will be here, but it's okay. They're gonna grow nice and big here, blocking our view a bit from the goats, but not much. It's a bush, doesn't get big, but they're doing good. I need to clean the grass up because you can see that they're grown in a bit, but they're doing really good. They're really strong. One of them got really destroyed by goats, and it had actually gooseberries growing, but the goats ate them, so no gooseberries for us to try. Next year I think they're gonna start producing gooseberries because it's gonna be their 3rd year. This is their 2nd year already. Time flies by fast. Let's move on to the next trees.
Behind me you see we have in total 6 hazelnut little trees. I don't know if they're growing, probably they grow much bigger. We actually said that they had hazelnuts, but we again missed a period of harvesting them. So we missed out on that. We definitely have to be better next year. But yeah, I think they all fell down. That's bad from us. But we have hazelnut trees. And next to the hazelnuts is a sweet apple tree. Kind of like a golden apples, I think they're called. Like they're small, actually not that small, but they're yellow and very, very sweet and soft. So that's the tree behind me. And as David said, one year they give a lot of apples and the other year not at all, or barely any apples. So that's what happened this year. Last year was packed, and this year it had barely anything. Mostly people ate everything that fell down.
So here we are at our little garden that we made. And we wanted to say that the 2 hectares that were around our property, actually before we moved here, were rented out to the farmers, and they were actually processed and grown like grains, corn, all kinds of things on here. So if we were to continue renting it out, as they offered us like 300 per year, which is not much money for renting it out, it's more use to us to use it ourselves for our garden, for our animals right now. When they offered us, we didn't have animals or any plans of growing anything, so we rejected it knowing we want to use the land, and we did not want the tractors to drive next to our house and spraying chemicals. So we'd rather have our land ourselves and not rent it out. So now we have the freedom to do whatever we want with it, and no one is gonna tell us what to do with it. The big brown field behind me, that was actually the original land that the house came with. In Latvia, when everyone didn't have much money, they split their land off and sold it separately to the farmers. And yeah, that's supposed to be our land from the house. It's actually called by our house name's land. So we actually would like to buy that back once upon a time, whenever we are able to afford it. It's actually like 23 hectares, so it's a lot of land. It goes all the way till the road and all the way back. That was actually our original road, was going through this land and onto the main road, but right now we don't have access to that, so we're using the neighbor's land as our road. In the future, if we did buy it back, I probably would not put the road back there because it's a lot of work and a lot of money to put a road on a field that is soft. But yeah, that was originally our land for this house, so it would be good to reunite it back together. Here's 3 more apple trees. This one's really full this year and the other one's a bit more empty, but it was other way around last year, so I guess it's switching around. These apple trees are really nice. The apples are like, this ones are a bit less red and the other ones are really red. And then the third apple tree behind there, that one does not taste good. Maybe we'll have to cut it down. We'll see about it. Let's move over to our park. This is kind of like our private park with big giant trees. We have huge oak trees, which are actually grand oak trees because they have become really fat. So 2 big oak trees and another big one back behind, and then we have some maples, we have some birches next to the lake, we have some other trees that I just don't know the name of in English, and then we have in the middle growing 2 sweet cherry trees. Those guys are struggling quite a lot because there's barely any sun here. So they're not having so much leaves as other cherry, and also not so many cherries.
That's a very big tree. I cannot even wrap my hands around it, and that's not the biggest tree we have. Let's go to the other biggest tree. Both of those trees are oak trees, and this one I think is more than 3 meters all around, because that's a lot, and I don't know how much more I have to the other side.
Your hands are 160? Because you're 165?
I think I could
So 165, I don't think even 2 of you.
Yeah.
Wait, let me see.
Yeah, I don't think you can see me. We're touching hands on the other side.
I think it's like 3.5 meters.
Yeah, that's a big tree. Hope you stay a while and you don't get knocked down by a lightning, because we like you. Here we are at another apple tree. It looks quite empty because all the apples have fallen down. I don't know why, but this year the autumn has arrived very fast and very early, I would say, because last year at that time we still had apples on the trees, but this apple tree had no apples last year, so it has had a lot of apples, and they were actually very tasty. There's still one left. So those are the apples that we had from those. They're really, really juicy and very yummy. They were much bigger than that. That's just one of the last, probably the last apple from that tree. And I really like the color. That's actually the apples we made, the apple pie for the 20,000. They look like candy cane. Here we are at another pear tree, my favorite pear tree, because it has the really hard pears that I really love. But for some reason this year it barely had any pears and they got really infected from bugs. So that was not good. And a lot of them just starting rotting before they were even done. So I didn't get to eat a lot of pears from that tree. And the other pear tree, I don't like the pears so much because they're soft pears. And I'm more of like, I love the hard pears of that tree. And I was a bit sad that I didn't get to eat as many as last year. So let's go over there. Here we have our grapes, which very bad of us. We again didn't make an arc or something so it can grow on because we did not have so much time. But we have to do that the next year because there's already grapes growing there if you saw one of the last videos. But yeah, it's trying to grow. It's like tangling itself in the grass. So next year we definitely have to make something nice to put here for like kind of, you know, where you walk through. So we have some actually good grapes and yeah, let's go try one. Here is the grapes. Let's try. They are sour and they have a lot of seeds. They're nice. They're actually really good. I'm sorry guy, but next year we have to make you actually grow because he's like these sticks there, they don't do anything anymore. And I think the fence for the strawberries, because they have strawberries, has helped him quite a lot. So next year we definitely have to make something so he can grow up. I barely tapped it and it fell down. So let's see. Those are nice apples. They're like sour apples. They're very nice. I love these apples. I don't know. There's way too many. They have a bit like a vanilla taste. Weird. Here we are at our little fireplace that David made, but we filmed it, but we never showed you because I think we never finished it fully. But yeah, here we did our 5,000 special grilling and celebration. Here we have the place where we put our hammocks, one tree and that tree, and then this hammock has to be relocated for next year because it's stressing me out and I'm not even putting full power. So yeah, we have to find another place to put the other hammock, but it's really nice because it's at the lake, and since a lot of people have asked how our lake is filling up, we're gonna do some drone shots so we can show you. Right next to the hammocks we have our cherry tree, which we could not eat any cherries this year since the birds ate them, but we have our raspberries, we have some blackcurrant bushes that are hiding inside, and more behind we have buckthorn, but we don't have as much as last year, and I don't know the reason. Is it the same thing with apples? I doubt it. So I don't know why. But yeah, here's our little garden area. Yeah, and more this way is our blackcurrants and some more raspberries.
Here's our plum, which we planted. We planted this last spring because this spring we missed. We want to plant some more trees, some fruit trees, some more apple trees, but we missed the season, which was the spring, to buy some apple trees or fruit trees and plant them. So now we have to get in September, which is now, we have to go and buy some fruit trees and plant some. Next to the plum, we also planted 2 apricots, one for me and one for Despina. We planted each one. I think this one was mine, which is bigger, of course, and that was Despina's, which is smaller, of course. But this is really growing strong and good. This is going to be apricots. In maybe 10 years, it's going to be a nice big tree. But yeah, these are more like a long-term planting type of thing because they're going to take forever to grow. Not forever, but they're going to take a few years to grow. Here we have another buckthorn. next to some red currant bushes, and then we planted another red currant there, but it's covered in grass, it's pretty small, and the goats have destroyed it a bit because, well, they escaped and they came here. And also we have planted another black currant, which Despina loves, so we have to plant more of those bushes.
Here next to me we have the border with our neighbors, so this side is ours, and where they have the fence is their land, of course, and it goes all the way straight down. At that side of the house we don't have many fruit trees, and I think the only fruit tree we have is the sour cherry, which actually produced quite a lot of sour cherries for us, more than enough I think to make our jams and stuff. Can you stand up then?
Yeah.
Here we have a big tree that I don't know how it's called in any language. It actually has tea on it that we collected with my mom. In Latvian it's called liepa, I think. So we're gonna write it down here what it is in English. But they used to put it in the entrances of the houses and the properties to show wealth and richness, kind of. So show that the property is wealthy. So nice to have one of these. Since we're doing a property tour, I think we're also gonna show you the chicken house. If you are new here, you maybe don't know that place, but if you're following us for quite a while, for like a year, this one used to be the old goat enclosure, and they were all living together with chickens in there, and after a while also geese, but now everyone is gone except of the chickens and geese. They sleep together, they like each other company, I hope. They don't have any problems. So yeah, we're gonna tear down this part as soon as we can, whenever we have the chicken house done, but probably not this year because still geese need a place to live, so that's probably gonna stay till next year. Also, here's a random tomato growing. It has tomatoes, and I think it's because we give the chickens the insides of the tomatoes, maybe decided to grow here. So it started very small, so we did not take care of it because we did not think it's gonna grow so high. But yeah, it's growing very big. Yeah, here's some tomatoes, and the nights are cold, so I don't know how it's still keeping up, because our neighbor's greenhouse tomatoes are done, I think, but ours are still green and growing, so that's a bit crazy. Here's a lot. Here we are back at the entrance of our house and property, and let us know if you have any questions, because we're planning to do again a live stream where we can answer some questions. Maybe this time we can actually answer some of the questions that you have in the video, and if there's any at the live stream. So make sure to comment any questions you have, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and we're gonna see you next time. Bye bye. Have a beautiful autumn. Clearly autumn is here.